You're listening to the Slow Ride Podcast. Bikes, advice, and rumors straight from the source. TheSlowRidePodcast.com and on Twitter at TheSlowRidePod. Enjoy the ride.
This is the Slow Ride Podcast, a show about bikes, life, and cycling rumors. And gentlemen, I am happy to report I have found my way back deep from the Alabama woods to Gainesville, Florida. My name is Tim Hayes, and I'm joined by...
I'm the little guy. I'm not in Alabama.
Have you ever been in Alabama?
Yeah, once for a couple minutes. I drove from New Orleans to Atlanta one time with some people in the back of a Volkswagen Bug with my neck at an angle the whole time because there was so much stuff in there.
Were you a hitchhiker?
Sort of. I met these people at a hostel and they were going to Atlanta, and I said, yeah, I'll go to Atlanta because I wanted to get an auto drive away from Atlanta back to Minneapolis. Long story.
That is, yeah, okay. That makes sense.
Anyway, where are you?
I'm in beautiful Boston, Massachusetts, where the snow has melted and everyone is so happy, which is really weird for Boston people.
Yeah, that's cool.
Cool stuff. Cool beans. So, anyways, you can reach us on Twitter at the Slow Ride Pod, the Slow Ride Podcast at gmail.com. Also, the slowridepodcast.com. Lots of big things happening in the world. Obviously, Paris-Roubaix we're going to get to today. We're going to get to habits of cycling. Basically, people need a refresher course of what it takes to be a good cyclist. Then we're going to talk a little bit about Redlands, lots of other things. But first, guys, I want to just tell you a little bit. I had my first mountain bike race of the year in Alabama in the Talladega National Forest.
Wow,
that's where their car race is, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I start the race. I'm in decent position. It's a 60-mile kind of out and back. You do like 10 miles of single track, and then you go out on Jeep road, country road, really. And I made it out of the single track.
Country road.
Probably in about 25th out of like 70 starters. And
wait, a second ago there were 60. Now there's 70. Every time you mention this
is like a good fishing story.
So I got 20. I was in 20th place out of about 80 starters. Okay. And I got done with the single track, go to the first aid station. They're doing a poker run, and I figure this is going to be the only chance I get to win anything is to just do the cards, and hopefully no one else takes cards, and then I cash out. So I get my first card, and I'm riding. I'm on a single speed, so some guys have passed me. Nice, long, gradual climb. And then I just kept climbing and climbing like you're supposed to. Take my right-hand turn. And suddenly, well, really like 6 miles later, I come to a dead-end road, and I go, I must have missed a turn. So I turn back around. I go back 6 miles. I take another right-hand turn. I'm like, oh, it's just up this way. And then I get to the end of the Talladega National Forest, and I finally get service on my cell phone, and I'm like easily another 12 miles off course. Backtrack all the way. The sign that I was supposed to see was ripped down and in the grass with an arrow pointing that way. So some locals were having some fun with me.
Story of your life.
Anyway, so I didn't place. I didn't win. No. But I still got in a really good ride. I mean, I just kept riding. It was
pretty much, you were pretty much Bradley Wiggins.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. He at least put in an attack.
Oh, I attacked. I had
There's just no one around to know that you did.
Oh, I should have taken the whole shot.
Wait, so if a super rookie attacks in the woods and no one's there, did it really happen?
So, you attacked a couple times on that 6 mile stretch. It was awesome. You should have seen it.
So have any of you guys raced yet this year? No, didn't think so. So anyways, I'm back. So that was good. So anyways, Paris-Roubaix, which means that I wasn't able to watch it live like you guys. So I had the privilege, Spencer, of having seasoned commentating pro Matt, the little guy Allen, give me the play-by-play for the final 8K. It was a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Nice.
While I was eating a pancake.
Yeah.
I expect nothing less.
Tim started asking for the play-by-play, and then Caitlin walked in the room and handed me some pancakes. And it was great, but it was hard to eat pancakes and do a play-by-play because I'm not a professional. But it was a good race. It was a good race. I think I told you about a good race. Actually, everything I told you was a lie, Tim, and that's not what happened. Actually, Sepp Van Mark won, just like I predicted. He went solo early on. Sagan got second, and Demar got third. So
interesting.
That's the truth.
So
there you go.
Your pick was wrong. Tim, your pick was Christoph for the win, right?
Yes.
How'd he do?
I think he was in that third group. They're 10.
Like 10.
Yeah, but he was in the
10.
second group. Sorry.
That was pretty good. What was my pick?
31 seconds. Probably Florian Senchel from Confidus. He got 17.
No, he was not my pick.
Well, with this judging by the snarky look on your face.
Is Bjorn Lukemans in 19th from Wanty Group. Govar.
It was
No?
Bradley
Somebody
Wiggins.
else.
Greg Van Avermaet, or was it Stybar?
No.
I don't think you picked Degenkolb, did you?
No.
Gonna have to go back and listen to that one.
Yeah, maybe I will.
Yeah, you should.
Did.
So John Degenkolb won. I went back, and Spencer, I followed your lead. I went to cyclingtorrents.nl.
Yep.
We
talked about that in an early episode.
Yeah, cyclingtorrents.nl. If you want high quality, non-skippable, no pop-ups watching experience, cyclingtorrents.nl. That's where you want to go.
I don't even know what a bike race without pop-ups looks like. I mean, it's part of the experience.
Of course, Degenkolb takes the win in a sprint, a 7-man sprint over Stybar and Greg Van Avermaet. Lots of great things going on, but mainly, and little guy, you did a great job of explaining this, was the epic
through the pancake.
The Bert de Backer being the consummate professional, taking Degenkolb across the gap to GVA and Stybar. Or, I'm sorry, GVA and the guy that looks
Lampard.
Yeah.
Other Boonen.
Other
Lampard.
So good stuff. It was
he was a good teammate.
I got to watch it.
He still finished. De Backer still finished 12th after doing all that work for Degenkolb. Got to say that Lampard, after getting in that move, starting that move with Greg Van Avermaet, and then waiting for Stybar, and then pulling for the group, he still finished 7th. So that's a great result for a couple guys that were, up there having to work for somebody else in the front group. So,
What did you think of the race, Spencer? Were you able to watch the whole thing?
I did. I watched it from about 70K to go. I missed the forest of Arenberg because they were way ahead of schedule. They were riding faster than I thought. I got up. I gave myself a little buffer, but they still beat me. So that was all right. It didn't look to have as much effect as it sometimes does. So.
Do you guys feel like it doesn't have it hasn't had a big effect in the last many years? Like I feel like back in the Hincapie days,
cool.
It was like the big thing. Like we watched it, and it was always something dramatic would happen.
Days, the Hincapie like 2 years ago.
No, he hasn't been riding.
No,
remember, not even when he was still riding. Like when Hincapie was like, you actually thought maybe Hincapie had a chance.
Like 2002, 2003 Hincapie.
So like, or 2008, even maybe. I don't know. When was the last time Hincapie finished top 10?
Probably 2002.
When he didn't sprint that 1 year.
No, the 1 year he had a shot is when he went in the ditch. He had a young upstart domestique towing him along. Tom Boonen, a young man named Tom Boonen who no one had heard of, and Hincapie went careening into the ditch by himself, and Boonen looked back and was like, "Whoop! I just got a ride," and crushed it.
I think the year that that his steer tube broke, he was gonna win. He was
not gonna win that.
He
year.
was on some seriously good HGH that year. His ears had grown an inch, and if the ears grow an inch, that means that your watts are up or something. Mm-hmm. That was going to be a good year.
What year was that?
And that ends today's episode of Science with Matt.
I hope they get calipers out on George's ears, and they're like, "Yes, we are giving him the right dose."
Yeah.
I don't know what year that was, but anyway, today's race, it was much better than those old races.
So Twitter was a storm with lots of different things. First off, let's talk about the train crossing. The high-speed train comes through. We have the descending train arms coming down, hitting a rider in the head. Lots of people sneaking through, and then the race jury doesn't even cut anybody out. But you notice Martin Elminger, is there, stopped.
He stopped.
Waiting, and he still got fifth. And I think it's completely ridiculous that they don't kick these guys out for crossing the arms. I mean, that's a life and death situation. That train is not stopping for anybody.
No, it's not.
Yeah. How many guys had got through before the arms went down? I mean, the break was through, obviously, but were these guys doing it because, like Wiggins had gotten through, but Styler had, so it was panic?
Back half of the peloton, pretty much. Maybe even the whole peloton, but so many guys stuck under.
It was definitely the back side of the peloton because it was all the Europe car guys.
Oh, yeah. But what's crazy is that so many of them snuck through. Guys went under. Guys went around. You see DeMar there trying to get off the tracks before the train comes, and and none of them got disqualified. But in 2006, it was pretty similar with the breakaway getting kind of caught, or a chase group getting caught, and those guys got DQ'd. And
and I mean,
I'm not sure. It's another.
They said it was because the commissioners weren't up there when it happened, so they couldn't DQ at that moment. But
the video that I'm seeing.
Well, yeah, the video, and obviously in 2006 they didn't get DQ'd at that moment. They raced it out.
They waited until the end
later.
Yeah.
I don't know why they didn't do it. They really should. If they're gonna, I think they felt that the neutralization sort of
that's
made
what
it
they
better.
Claimed.
But that's such a bullshit reason because maybe the race is fair, after they slow whoever down to put the group back together, but it's not about fair, it's about safe, right?
Yeah, it's true.
None of that stuff was safe. Like if those guys got run over by a damn train, Paris-Roubaix would never happen again. You know what I mean? Like
that would have been terrible. The French national champ got killed by a train.
By a TGV. Yeah.
At least he'd be on the front page of the newspaper on the Sunday of Paris-Roubaix.
The French riders would get some press finally.
So here's the thing that I didn't understand about that is that in previous years when the trains come, the race organizers had the race officials or marshals that are on the motorbikes that hold the little sign that goes back and forth, stopping at the arms saying "Don't come." And this one they didn't have that. It was on the honor system of the riders, and the riders were probably looking like, "Oh, I can beat this." But it was embarrassing that none of them got DQ'd. They didn't
How fast
learn a
does that train go?
Isn't it the magnet train? It's the high speed train.
That is the fast train. Yeah, that is
I'm sure one of our
miles an hour or something.
I'm sure one of our French listeners will tell us.
Yeah, this
is one of those things.
I never know
judge
how much to believe the commentators on Eurosport, but they said the train had slowed down, because whatever, they knew the race was coming through, stuff like that. But I mean, even a slow, fast train's going 60 miles an hour or something. It went by pretty quick.
Yeah, it's still going pretty fast. Yeah.
So speaking of Eurosport commentators, we should definitely get to 23rd place finisher Peter Sagan, who had lots of issues during the race. The first one being that he actually had to go poop on the side of the road. And
it's called the nature break.
Nature break.
Yeah.
But, so he was over there, and that was a little awkward.
Happens.
I mean, you know what though? That's what the women's race has to deal with. They haven't solved that problem for them with the clothing, with the cycling clothing.
They need a drop seat short, but what they really need to what I don't understand though is is it that hard to get down to race weight? Do you have to wait to the middle of the race? And the cobbles of Paris-Roubaix must have really been doing a number, really moving things around.
Yeah, that can't be comfortable. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. If you gotta go, it's gonna be trouble. You got 6 hours in the saddle, bumpy roads.
Well, and he caught back up, of course, and then he's in Chase Group 3, and race announcer, little guy Matt, was telling me that he was hitting his handlebars.
Yeah, he had a broken shifter.
And he had a broken shifter, throws his bike down on the ground. So we have another bike.
Into the bushes.
Into the bush. Into a hedge.
And
it was a violent throw, but a very soft landing. It was like he threw it, and then the camera panned over, and the bike had gone like an inch and just landed on a bush.
Yeah. So I think he gets a quick bike change, gets back on, actually catches back up and into his group, and finishes in 23rd place.
Yeah.
So anyways, do you think Peter Sagan had what it took to win the race today?
I think he would have been top 10. He looked good. He'd put in an attack or two, a couple digs. I think he looked pretty good.
He did.
The race weight was good. I don't know. I don't know if he would have won because he's talking, but he seemed to be riding with a little more aggression for a while there, which I think is
he did. That's
kind of what he's been
lacking.
He's been thinking too much and not just riding like crazy like he used to.
He has zero pressure on him.
Zero pressure. Well, the weird thing is no one ever has pressure before a big race. It's weird because you'd think they would. But, I mean, turns out professional riders never have pressure.
Yeah, no. You know who's got all the pressure in those races? The teams
DS.
the teams like UHC. Like the teams that are we ever coming back? I don't know. We better do something cool.
That's true. Who is the top UHC rider?
Oh, man, in honor of UHC being in there, I chose Danny Summerhill for my 16th place contest. Didn't go as good as the top UHC rider. I think he's in 55th place. Alessandro
55th
Bazzana.
place. Yep. That's a ways down. Anyway,
in the future, they're trying to get that tour entry, and one of these days they will get there. I had Danny Summerhill for 16th place, and he did not come anywhere close to that. He came in 127th place, only 25 minutes down. Thanks for working so hard for me, Danny. I do appreciate it. So, guys, this 16th place contest, the 16th place contest has really taken on a life of its own, and so I think we need to discuss what actually happens with 16th place moving forward. I think we need to decide that from now on, the 16th stage of all the Grand Tours will be a 16th place contest day, and the 5 monuments of cycling.
I like it. Wait, aren't there 6?
Yeah, there's 6.
Yeah.
So that would be a total of 8.
So 16th place on stage 16 of the Giro, of the Vuelta, and of the Tour?
Yes. And then Lombardy would be good, and elsewhere. So those would be all where we're moving forward. But let's talk about 16th place for Paris-Roubaix. Who got it? Who got 16th place?
Well, that's easy. It's some guy that we've never heard of.
That no one picked.
No one picked him. Argon.
Oh yeah, he's on the Argon
18
team.
Argon 18 team. Yeah.
Andreas Schillinger. See, even I cannot mess up that name. Andreas Schillinger got 16th place. Congratulations. He is not even on Twitter, so we couldn't even stalk him on Twitter.
Really? Aren't Germans all on Twitter?
And no one picked him. No one picked him in our contest.
No one picked him. Yeah, so then I went to, one spot up and down, 15th and 17th for Nicky Terpstra and Florian Seneschal, something French. No one picked either of them either. I was kind of surprised. I thought somebody might have picked Terpstra, but
yeah.
And then going one further out, you got Brett Bozek.
I will say this: when I checked the spreadsheet, I didn't even check for that guy's name. I was like, "There's no way that anyone even knows that this guy exists."
He's a good rider.
He is a good rider, but he's a good worker. Yeah. I didn't think he'd be in the top 20. And then the other direction, 18th place.
Perry Tours?
Anyway, I don't know. Bradley Wiggins. And Bradley Wiggins was picked by many. He is the official closest to 16th place finisher that was chosen. Congratulations to our three listeners picked them. Yeah.
So who are these 3 winners, Spencer? Because we need to get them their Ixnay shop prize, which is going to be a gift pack from a new sponsor of us based out of Boston, a clothing company. They have a sweet cat-centric cat camo line, which is pretty awesome.
So Camel Line, amongst other things, absolutely. Some donuts, some other stuff. Ixnay shop.
Tell us who these winners are.
Yeah, so we have 3 winners. We have at Eric B. Eric England out of Minnesota, actually.
All right.
He came in with the first choice of Wiggins, the oldest choice, you could say.
Congratulations, Eric.
Okay. Yeah. Next in line, at Frank Cundiff.
Ooh, Frankie Cundiff. I stayed with him. He lives in Richmond, Virginia, right off the course, and he took me on the tour of the Richmond, Virginia World Championships course.
So you're saying he had some insider knowledge?
Dude, I had...
He's DQ'd. DQ'd. All right,
well, no, it's not the World Championship. Frankie, great job, Frankie. Proud of you, buddy. Awesome job. Okay, who's the third one?
And third and final choice for Wiggins was at Meow Clank.
Oh, nice.
He's a great friend of the pod, New Zealander, traveling around Europe, possibly in Belgium right now. Kind of race super fan, always at all the races.
International.
Wait, so they're always at the races. They can maybe PayPal us some money to send them the Ixnay package. Because I had to send a package to Canada once, and that cost a little bit too much. I had to fill out a customs form.
Oh,
it was not exciting.
That sounds really tough. Yeah.
So
you're saying they need to PayPal us to get their free gifts that we promised?
Well, I guess I never thought someone from Europe would actually listen to this garbage besides Dan Craven and his mother in Southern Africa.
I'm going to take care of it. I have some connections there at the Ixnay shop, so I'm going to get 3 prize packs sent out. So don't worry about it, Timmy.
All right, thank you. Congratulations to our winners. So,
good work,
guys. And wrapping up Roubaix, is there anything else you want to talk about before we make our big announcement for next week's show?
I'm glad we don't have to hear about Bradley Wiggins for a while.
What? Seriously?
That's sad.
Dude,
I wanted
sad.
him to win. I did kind of want him to win.
I would have been excited if he'd won, but I was really sick of seeing like memorials of his career and Brad's last race. And Brad's focusing now on the track. And
I'm getting really disappointed with the stories on the how tough it is to live life as a Tour de France champion.
Yeah.
Like that.
I mean, I'm sure it's a lot of pressure.
Sure, but then
there's no pressure
Tour
in
de France.
Oh, you're right. God, I don't want to. Why I keep getting mixed up on that? I should just read the cycling news articles the day before a big race, and I'd know there's no pressure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're right. It's weird.
So Bradley Wiggins is gone. I'm excited not to hear about suspension road geometry or frames for another 5 or 6 years before the technology comes back and is considered to be new. We've seen many of these over the years. Le Mans featured it. I know Hincapie had it once, and now you've got the Jaguar designed frame that did not work very well, just like a Jaguar. Make it.
Well, did the bikes actually have problems with their suspension, or did they just have other problems?
Well, Luke Rowe actually did pretty well, and Wiggins did fine today.
Luke Rowe finished top 10.
So
seems like a waste. It's a waste of a perfectly good suspension.
So let's get to our big announcement. Next week's episode, and then we'll take a quick break here, is going to be featuring former U.S. pro, former U.S. National Madison champion, Eric Saunders, will be coming on the pod to talk about his career, where he's at now, and other things that are going.
How would I know? Who is this? What are you talking about?
You used to have a T-shirt with his face on it.
EricSaunders.com.
I made that shirt. If there's any listeners out there that have some free moments during the week, what they should do is go find a copy of the movie Pro and watch that, and they will learn all about the inner workings of the Philadelphia U.S. Pro race, now the Philly International. And they'll get a big, long interview with Eric in there and just see what he's all about. He is the working man's hero, one of those kind of cyclists you can really get behind. And he's got a lot of opinions, and he's happy to share them with us. And, we're going to talk to him, pick his brain. It's It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be great. Can't wait and very excited for that.
I'm just going to ask him about the Navigators and how cool it must have been to race against the Navigators.
Yeah?
No, not actually, but I had a Navigator's cap, I remember. It's pretty cool.
I remember...
Hey.
Yeah, he gave me one of his caps when we saw him at a race. McGuire. I was really excited about it. I still haven't watched it.
I'm going to do a shitty one first, and I'll work up to it. This is Eric Saunders. You're listening to the Slow Ride Podcast. Ain't no rookies in here.
All right, well, we're back. Thanks for listening to the Slow Ride Podcast. Up next, we've got some
wait. We haven't even talked. Are we going to do an Amstel Gold preview? And to preview Amstel Gold, we kind of have to talk about Tour of the Basque Country, at least like
Amstel Gold Light. That's pretty good, right?
It's pretty sweet.
Do you prefer it over the regular Amstel Gold, or
no? Unlike Simon Gerrans, I will drink the Amstel Gold.
Oh. So Amstel Gold is this weekend?
Who didn't drink the Amstel Gold? Yeah, Amstel Gold is next weekend. Super Rookie. It's the first of the Ardennes Classics. Is it a monument though? That is the question. Do you know? Is it a monument or is it just a classic?
So what are the rest of the Ardennes Classics?
There's the Arrow, and then there's Liège. And if you win all three, you're as cool as David Rebellin or Philippe Gilbert.
Amstel Gold, Flèche Wallonne, Liège-Bastogne.
Liège-Bastogne.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in Liège-Bastogne, Liège is 2 weeks away, and that is going to be the next 16th place contest. We'll talk more about that with Eric Saunders. But real quick, little guy, who is going to win Amstel Gold?
I'm going to say, I got to say, Rodriguez looks good. I was starting to worry that he didn't race bikes anymore, and then he showed up in the Basque Country and crushed it, won the overall, won a couple stages. But I think Sammy Sanchez is going to come out of old man world and crush it. He rode a good race, a good sneaky hidden race, finished 13th, just behind his team leader and consummate whiner, who's ahead of schedule with his training, TJ Van Garderen in 11th. And so, yeah, Sammy Sanchez. That's my pick.
Hey, time out. Someone on Twitter had this good question. Okay. Where's TJ Van Garderen complaining about, rider safety when they're ducking underneath the railroad arms as a high-speed train comes down at 200 miles an hour?
Well,
Seriously.
He wasn't there. In his defense, I don't think he has to defend anything that happens everywhere in a bike race.
I agree. I'm just pointing it out because someone else put it up on Twitter.
You know what?
I totally agree.
And you know what? I went around a corner today and there was sand in that corner. Where's TJ Van Garderen? Huh?
Oh my gosh! Do you know?
He should have been sweeping that corner.
It would be great to have TJ always just as our guardian angel, just always around when you're riding a bike. Like, whoa! Stop here! There's debris in this bike lane. Please go around.
Or you just turn around and TJ's like, "Don't worry, I got it." And he's like sweeping and cleaning things up.
We could make an app, guys, for the iPhone. So when you wake up in the morning and if it's below like 20 degrees, but you don't need to know, like, and you're up in the morning, you're like, oh, it's 7, and you're kind of drowsy. You're like, do I need to ride my bike? And then all of a sudden, like, you just turn on your phone, and then all of a sudden it's TJ's face. It's below 20. It's unsafe. Go back to bed.
Go back to bed.
No. He says, get on the CompuTrainer with Lance and just do intervals. It's cool.
No, he's going to say, go back to bed. That's what professionals need. Sleep.
Yeah, lots of sleep.
All right, so Amstel Gold, you think Sammy Sanchez is going to win. Is Cunego still racing?
He is going to do the Amstel, yes. That's the only one of the three that his team is getting invited to. So this is, next week is the highlight of his season. So he better bring it.
Damiano Cunego is going to win. And he's going to win it for me. The Little Prince.
Nice.
I don't think that's true. Spencer, who you got?
Oh, I haven't paid any attention. Anybody but Valverde? Anybody but Valverde?
He's probably going to win.
No, you know what? Let's throw it out there for the world champ. I want to see the world champ win it.
That could be. Did you guys watch any of the Basque Country?
No.
You didn't watch any? I sent
Wait, they
you
get the
thing.
funny hat. They get the funny hat if they win, right?
No. We've talked about this now. It was good. I watched a couple of the stages. Sergio Hino or whatever from Sky was destroying it. Oh, Timmy's really bored that I'm talking about bike racing on our bike podcast.
He's unbelievably frustrated with us right now. Yeah.
That's the worst. I can't believe I'm talking about bike racing on a bike podcast. I'm sorry. Anyway,
our listeners could see the exasperated gestures that Tim's making. It's
just because he doesn't have any idea what I'm talking about.
I don't. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie.
Well, you gotta switch now. So we've been all thinking about these cobbled big dudes. We gotta switch to the scrawny little dudes because it's all hills from here on out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's either gonna be a Cunego. It's gonna be Cunego or anybody on the movie star team. That's all I care about.
I'm pretty sure there's a good shot for anybody on AG2R in the next couple weeks. Oh my god!
Did you see how far down Degenkolb finished? He finished like an hour and a half down.
I'll take it back. Anybody but him on AG2R has a pretty good shot.
98th place. 98th place on GC. 1 hour and 1 minute. This is a guy who 2 years ago launched an attack on the last climb of Flesh Wallone and just like ripped it apart. Yeah. And he finished an hour down on all the guys you'd think he would usually be competing against.
But he got a big fat contract, and now he can just
eat got a big fat something. Got a big fat something.
He's going to cut down that race weight by the time the tour starts.
So him and like, is it true? At least it used to be that all the Colombian guys live together. So like Sergio and Quintana and Degenkolb all live together in their little Colombian world. How come all those other guys are just rocking it? They're doing awesome. And do they not like cut him off at the dinner table every night?
Yeah.
Like what's
maybe
the deal?
They kicked him out of the club. I don't know.
Maybe they did.
Maybe it's a Ponderosa, and he just went when they kicked him out of the table. That he just went right back up to the buffet and started hitting that ice cream machine. It's like I want some gummy bears in my ice cream.
I was hoping that this would be the year, but I don't think it's going to be the year.
Hey, did you ever go to Ponderosa?
Can we make that nickname stick? Can we get Carlos the nickname the Gummy Bear from now on?
All right, the Gummy Bear. Yes,
I like
let's do it. The Gummy Bear.
All right, the Gummy Bear. We're going to be looking for the Gummy Bear to maybe show himself at the front of the race, but it won't happen.
Yeah.
Did you pick anybody, Spencer, or did you just like divert the question?
I diverted. No. I picked Kiyokowski, world champion.
All right.
I was going to pick Frank Schleck, but I don't think he's racing.
He's racing. He finished.
Is he?
He finished. He finished Tour of the Basque Country.
All right. Well, maybe he's a good shot.
This podcast is quickly descending into little guy like statistical expert like analysis, like he's actually knowing what's going on.
All I did was look at the races and watch like highlights from like 3 of the stages. I literally spent 15 minutes.
I gotta
paying
admit,
attention to the Tour of the Basque Country.
It's a good race. I love the Flanders week, and I really love the Tour, and I really love Milan-San Remo, and I just the Ardennes week has never really done it for me.
Really,
I like the Giro.
I really like it.
I do like those races when I see them. But I don't get excited to actually,
I understand that. I don't get as pumped for Amstel. After Roubaix, Amstel is a little but once you start watching it, it's exciting.
Yeah.
It's a good race.
No, I'll watch the race.
There's a lot of road furniture in those races, which is
There's
exciting.
a lot of road furniture.
Yeah.
What's your issue?
My issue with the race is that...
Hey, little guy, Tim's really mad that we're interrupting him. But that's what he does to us all the time.
That's it. I'm done. All right, let's move on to the next topic.
What are you mad about?
You guys keep interrupting me. It's ridiculous.
What really grinds your
interrupt
gears?
you.
I want to hear what grinds your gears.
What grinds my gears?
Yeah.
Nothing.
About it?
I don't want to talk about it.
I thought you had something to say about Amstel.
I don't
No?
care.
Okay. All right, let's move on. We've all.
Why do you guys keep interrupting me? Like, here I am trying to talk about being an expert. Can you guys hear me? Like,
yes. Talking about being an expert.
So, guys, Amstel Gold is coming up, and I'm really excited. It's definitely my favorite race on the calendar. I've been watching a lot of cycling videos and expert analysis, and I just can't wait to watch it because it's by far the most important race out there. It looks like a bowl of spaghetti, and they just constantly go up the same climbs like 15 times. So yeah, I'm real excited for it. Back to you.
I agree. Can't agree with you more. It's a beautiful race. Spaghetti. Who's your pick for the win there, Timmy?
My pick for the win is going to be Damiano Cunego. The Little Prince, it is his only race of the classics that he's going to get invited to. So this is pretty much his entire season is built into this race. So real excited for him and his team, his little-known team, going to get to come in and play for the victory. Go get him, Little Prince.
They are little-known.
How was that? Was that good?
That was good because when you went into your expert voice, you talked just a little bit louder, and that's how we knew you were an expert because your volume went up. True. You went from 9 to like 9.2.
Yeah,
and then we knew expert. And then you took things that I said earlier and then repeated them, so that was perfect.
All right, so
now everyone knows that what differentiates us from the other cycling podcasts out there in the world, the more professional ones anyway. Like, just the level of voice, the volume.
All right, we still have two things we need to discuss, gentlemen.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
First off, Redlands, the Chris Horner Memorial Classic.
How's he doing?
I loved it. Phil Guyman from graduate of the University of Florida from Gainesville, Florida, is where he got his start as a Category 5. Phil Guyman takes the win for the Optum Health team. And then in an interview afterwards, he says, "Hey, I'm leading the Chris Horner Classic," in reference to a Chris Horner interview that Chris Horner gave to Cycling News, in which he said, "They should name the race after me because I won it 6 times." Maybe he said it tongue-in-cheek. Probably did, but let's just assume the worst and that he didn't say it tongue-in-cheek. That Horner won and then was just or that Guyman won the stage and then totally just put it back there. It was awesome. And good job, Phil Guyman. Looks like a fun time. I can't wait to see them race next weekend at Sea Otter. Little guy, did you watch Redlands?
No, I did not watch Redlands.
You should have.
Yeah, did you?
No. I read it.
Oh.
I read it.
Good.
It only took like 4 or 5 minutes. And also, I don't know if American racing is ever on the television.
Television, yeah, no.
Unless it's like a crit, unless it's a USA crit. So
California.
I forgot about that race.
Yeah, it's kind of easy to do. Okay, well, cool. I'm excited for hearing your Sea Otter report.
Hey, didn't Adam Meyerson race this past weekend in Charlotte? Wasn't there a big crit in Charlotte?
There was a big crit in Charlotte, and he did race, yeah.
So how did that go?
Adam Meyerson, friend of the podcast, finished 10th overall in that race after leading out his teammate to 3rd place. So nice. UHC took the other 2 spots in the podium. I don't know. I didn't look at the results, so I don't know the riders' names, but UHC won 2, Estella's in 3rd. That's about all I know. There was no live feed of it. That much I know, which is strange for one of the big crits. Those NCC crits are really good about having live feeds most of the time. So I don't know what was up with that, but
I'm glad those UHC guys got their comeuppance when they went to Europe and rode Paris-Roubaix. Back of the pack, suckers. Now you're a big fish in a bigger pond.
You guys are worse than Eurocar and Top Sport and all these other teams we make fun of.
And then, of course, we would be remiss if we didn't even mention the women's racing that happened this past weekend. Mara Abbott took the win at Redlands for the LA Sweat composite team. I don't know much about that team other than their name is pretty awesome.
I don't either.
So when I was in Alabama this weekend, the guy I was with is from Southern Alabama, and he told people, "Oh, I'm from LA." And they'd be like, "Really?" And he's like, "Lower Alabama."
Oh.
Yeah. Let's get to the final thing. Spencer, you wanted to talk about habits.
Oh, yeah. So every spring, and we're well into spring now all across the country, even in Boston, springtime. You know, and I went out on a ride today. I know you guys are going to be shocked to hear this, but I went out on a ride today, and it just got me thinking.
Shop?
How far is the coffee shop from your house?
How far was the coffee shop?
Do you really need to use the bike? Couldn't you just walk? I mean, I don't know.
It's like 2 miles. No. But I got to thinking while I was riding about how every magazine and every website and everything kind of does the tips for noobs, you know, like tips for beginners, all that kind of, you know, like here's what to do when you go on your first group ride, like all these kind of things. And
so
and it made me...
one of our favorites of Spencer, and this is a great thing, and sorry to interrupt. No, I'm not. But do you guys remember when we read the bicycling magazine tips for new racers, and one of them was like put peppermint oil, and like you could.
You read that.
I knew you read that because you always like had peppermint oil. We'd get to a race and you'd be like, anybody,
I'd, like,
and
throw it all over my gloves.
Eat a little peppermint oil.
And it was like secret tip.
Yeah.
When you're suffering, breathe peppermint oil because it opens your nostrils or whatever. Anyways, that was a really good tip. Thanks, Bicycling Magazine.
Yeah, that's crazy. Anyway, so I was thinking, you know, why do they always have these tips for newbies, but they don't have any tips for seasoned riders who, you know, have developed some bad habits? Because I think we all know a few people in our local group rides and stuff that just don't. They just have something about them that they're doing wrong, and they're too maybe proud to listen to you say it, or they're too stubborn to change their ways. So I was thinking, you know, we put it out there generically to everyone, just so if anyone's listening, if they do these things, they can say, oh, crap, that's me. Like, because if you look around the group ride and you don't know who the asshole is, it might be you kind of thing. You know,
I've got a ton. I've got a lot.
Certainly not me. It's not me.
I've got a few.
I mean, it could be me. I don't know.
So the first two are cosmetic that I want to mention.
Okay.
Clean your frickin' bike. The bike should be clean.
Man, you just digging into Spencer on the first one? Like that's
like,
cold.
Like
pretty
clean
brutal.
the bike. Like you don't need to clean it every ride, but like the bike should
number
be.
Number 2 is clean your kit. I mean, I know that these are all just against Spencer.
Number 2 is not really clean your kit. Number 2 is buy a new pair of frickin' shorts. Because seriously, there's too many times. There's too many times that I see like established local riders, and you can literally see through the shorts. And it's and they've got like a pearl.
You've never had that
problem,
have you?
They've got a pair of Pearl Izumi shorts from like 1993 that they've been rocking, and they're like, I really like the chamois.
So comfortable.
Exactly.
That's
just
true.
No, it's not comfortable because it's not comfortable for me to watch. So get those out.
Probably a good rule of thumb is if it's like over 2-3 years old and you're bigger than when you got it, you probably shouldn't wear it anymore. Like the stretch, the age, plus the fact that like you've maybe downgraded a few times.
Yep.
And the sun fade.
Yeah, and it's been in the sun. It's probably
so those are my
safe
first
to
two.
be behind them.
Do we have do you guys want to jump in or should I keep going?
Clinchers. Who rides those things? Get some tubulars, loser.
Oh Jesus! No, I think that you're kind of missing the point a little bit. Those are great things for people to think about.
Another one. I've got another one. I've got more.
Sock height.
To it. See, I'm thinking.
Don't critique. I've got a good one that is going to answer.
I'm not thinking. Like, I don't want to get into the rules of sock height and like whatever. But the old shorts is good. But I'm thinking just regular like things that should be instilled to you from the get go, like if waving when another cyclist passes you in the other direction.
Waving is very
important. Or if
important.
somebody waves at you, wave back or nod or something. Your interval is not that hard. I know you can nod your head. You know what I mean? And let's face it, you're not doing an interval.
But here's another one that needs to change. When you're on a group ride and you're going to get in the pace line, announce yourself as coming into the pace line. Like, hey, one more. Or before you get in the pace line, how about you look to see what the pace line is doing so you can see which way they're pulling off or how long the pulls are. Because that's ridiculous too.
Yeah. And the veterans think they know this stuff and they'll mess it up a lot. And it's, you're like, oh, you've been riding for 10, 20 years. You should know this. I don't want to be the guy to tell you you're pulling off the front of the thing the wrong direction. Like the wind is coming from the left, you pull off to the left. You know what I mean? Like that's how a pace line works. Like it's not always going clockwise or always going counterclockwise. There's a reason you go one direction or the other. Do it right, you know?
I thought it depended on if you're going east or west.
All right, other tip. If you're going to go on a group ride with friends,
it might be you
or your teammate, and the group ride, the established group ride is 8 o'clock, 8 a.m., the ride leaves no later than 8:10. It's like you get a 10-minute window. That's it. So the ride leaves at 8:10. You got 10 minutes.
Tight.
That is really tight.
So
you know me and little guy can't do that.
That's why I don't want you on the team rides.
Half hour, I'd say, after appointed time. I'd say.
So you guys asked. Our listeners are wondering why I would switch off Tim's team like in the middle of a race. Like, this is the kind of fascism that I can't handle 10 minutes after the posted time we have to leave.
Tim's
there's nothing wrong.
Sarah needed the car.
Yes. And there's nothing more wrong than going on a bike ride and having people show up 15, 20 minutes late. Like, if it says 8 o'clock, the ride leaves at 8:10.
That's true.
That's true. That's a good point.
And I mean, at least the first part of the ride should be kind of on a regular route anyway. So if you're going to be late, you know where to cut it off or how to, which route they're going so you can chase back on. That's a good point. For sure.
Remember the time you chased us all the way to Afton because you were so late?
Yeah, that was brutal. And I got a great workout.
It's probably the best workout you ever got just because you were like running late or something.
So late.
Hey, I got another one.
Us. Yeah. What you got, Tim?
Don't be that guy.
Oh, that's a good one. It's
specific. Don't be that guy that always is getting flat tires, that doesn't know how to change a flat tire.
Doesn't have a tube.
Doesn't have
tire lever.
Doesn't have tire levers. Doesn't have cartridges, or maybe has a cartridge but doesn't have the little adapter to use the cartridge.
That's always funny.
You go to the store and then I don't have my credit card. I don't have my cash. If it happens once in a while, that's okay. But third or fourth time when you're at the coffee shop and everyone needs to spot you $5, you're that guy.
Yeah.
Don't be that guy.
They're gonna start telling you the ride's at 8:30 when the ride's at 8.
I gotta say, I think it's funny when people have a cartridge but not the little thing. Just get a pump. Just get a pump.
Luddite.
It always works.
It's true.
You don't have to remember two pieces. You just remember one thing. Because the number of times I've seen people be like, I got a cartridge, but I don't have the little tool. Or then there's always, maybe if you're lucky, there's one guy who's like, I didn't bring a cartridge, but I bring the tool. Just bring a pump.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's a really handy way to put air in something.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's labor intensive, though.
It's true. Well, you're certainly not out there trying to get a workout.
Yeah, no. That's crazy. You're trying to get to the coffee shop.
True.
All right. Well, those are some good tips for any level of cyclist to remember and to put in place if they've realized they've been slipping off into bad habit zone. So keep that stuff in mind, guys, and we won't have to yell at you on our next group ride.
I don't want to do that.
Well, you're not coming on the group ride anyway.
What?
You show up late.
That's true.
I've been pretty on time. You know what? I went 2 weeks ago almost now. I went on the Tuesday night ride. First one to the spot.
So you thought you were late somehow. You were like, my watch is wrong. My battery must have died.
Wait, did daylight savings time just end or start? I'm confused.
No, I just left. I just planned it perfectly, and I left on time. And I got there. I sat down, and then everybody else showed up.
It's amazing.
Well,
Someone's
gentlemen,
gonna be first.
I can't wait for next week's episode with Eric Saunders. Everyone should go out and watch the documentary Pro, as Spencer mentioned. They should also watch Amstel Gold and watch Damiano Cunego, Kwiatkowski, or Sammy Sanchez take the victory, and we will tell you all that we are the winners. Also, to recap, the next 16th place contest is for Liège-Bastogne-Liège, and then we will see it again at the Grand Tours, and finally, the Tour of Lombardy. Oh, and the final question, yes or no?
Yes.
Will John Degenkolb be the next rider to win the 5 monuments of cycling? Little guy.
I don't think he's going to be able to do it. But I think he can get close, but I don't think he can win Liège.
Spencer.
I think he could. I think he could. I think he's got the stuff to win Liège, but he'd have to cut some weight first, so he's going to have to win those other ones, Flanders and Lombardy first, and then win Liège later in the career.
I mean, he's going to have to climb better for Lombardy too. So if he can win Flanders next year, and then just no bagels and pretzels for a whole winter,
it's going to be tough for a German.
Yeah, it's going to be tough because I'm pretty sure they only eat pretzels.
And with that, you can always email us at theslowridepodcast@gmail.com. Find us online, theslowridepodcast.com. I'd like to thank BK1 of Rhymesayers Entertainment for the music. We bid you adieu.
Adieu.
Adieu. Little guy, I think Tim's still mad at us.
The Slow Ride Podcast. Bikes, advice, and rumors straight from the source. TheSlowRidePodcast.com and on Twitter at TheSlowRidePod.
Here's the problem. I need a car.
Okay. And you're an idiot. Okay, that's the second part of the problem. Okay. So buy something cool this time. You live in Florida.
I told him Golf TDI.
It's a good idea.
He needs something new, because he's Tim. I know what you're going to say, but
pre-94.
Within the last 5 years, preferably still within warranty.
Yeah. You guys don't think I can change oil and replace brakes?
No, yeah, I think you could do that.
No.
I think it's when the ignition coils blow and just weird shit like that isn't that complicated, but is also still complicated.
I don't think Tim's ever going to do any of the maintenance himself. I think he should get something like a Maserati. He's an executive now, right?
It's true.
You need an executive car. You know what I think you should actually do? And this is my serious but also crazy advice, is just you buy 8 to 12-year-old S-Series Mercedes, because that is the sweet spot of cheapness and insanity. You'll have a giant, crazy, cool car that will be better than any car, normal human car that's been made in the last 5 years by leaps and bounds, and it will cost less than a Golf TDI. And people will see you roll up, and they'll be like, "Oh my god, that guy's rolling."
So you're thinking a Mercedes 12-year-old
car.
No, I said Mercedes. I did not say BMW. You do not want a German Pontiac. That thing will blow up. Haven't you? You remember Spencer had one of those? Explosions.
I remember you having a Mercedes and the entire exhaust
I
manifold.
had a 77 rusty-ass Mercedes. I'm saying buy an 8-year-old S-Series. I'm saying buy an 8-year-old car that cost $100,000 8 years ago. Buy one of those for $10,000.
How's that in the hierarchy work? S-Series.
There's C's, there's E's, and there's S's, and there's also a bunch of other garbly crap that doesn't make sense within their line, but don't pay attention to that. Just C's. C's are for poor people. E's are for rich people, and S's are for the 1%.